Well, I'm super excited today. We are back here on The Matt Show, where I talk with the coolest people that I can find at the intersection of tech, culture, business, and the arts. I'm joined today by Umama, who for years has been hosting and curating social event experiences. Umama has hosted hundreds of events where I feel like you've picked up a secret sauce for experiential marketing. Umama is the founder of Head of Social. Umama has worked with Nike, Adidas, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Lululemon, Bumble, and more. Before Head of Social, Umama grew all type of other businesses, including a fitness group where you hosted like fitness events called Sweatpack.
Yes, and Sweatpack was a tech company, an app that connected people to group workouts and sports leagues.
Even the root of her name, Uma, means community. So she's a living embodiment of bringing people together. And I want to know more about your take. You've said that the next influencers are in real life creators. And you're very passionate about this.
Mm-hmm.
So what is going on here? Like, what?
What is going on?
Why in real life? Why now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, should more people be getting into building community through events because there's a unique opportunity, or like?
So, great question. And the one that I'm most excited to talk about, which is IRL creators are the new generation of influencers. And I say this to say because IRL creators have actually existed for centuries. These are our event organizers, our community leaders. They might be disguised as like your book club, like presidents, your run club organizers, or even grassroots community organizers. They've had this unique ability to always like gather people and galvanize them over like a central topic or value points. And, you know, they've existed for centuries, but with the rise of social media, we've seen those in-person communities transfer to online communities, which made community feel so much more accessible, right? Being able to say, oh, I'm in this Facebook group, or, oh, I follow this creator that talks about this thing I like, which is beautiful. But then the pandemic hit. And I know, pandemic hit. It was beautiful because it was this beautiful time where people got to see connections happen online. But then we started to see just a cultural shift in how people were actually consuming content. And people started to realize that I no longer want to just passively consume this. I want to participate. I want to be a part of these people's lives. I want to connect with people that have these same themes and ideologies and interests. And then the second...
Are you saying, not to cut you off,
yeah,
sorry,
no, go
but
ahead.
are you saying that people's extra exposure to online interactions made them see the lack or flaw in it even more? That they're like, I value in-person interaction in a different way because of my lack of access to it.
You know, that's a great point. And I think it is, yes, definitely feeling like, oh, I have this gap in my life because I'm consuming so much. But I think it was this realization of, whoa, all I'm doing is scrolling and talking to these people online. But then I'm like, on the weekends, like, who do I actually call to hang out?
Yeah.
Where do I actually go? And then there's this FOMO of like, oh my God, there's so many people doing these things. Like, how do I participate? And so now we've started to shift to this generation where people don't want to just passively consume content. They want to participate in it. But then the second side of this is just the natural shift of the creator economy. When creators started to create this content, truly, they were just seeing it as, oh, I got to get paid deals and sponsorships in order to make money. So they were looking for new creative revenue streams of how do I actually monetize my followings and create media empires that actually could scale. And event strategies were an avenue, a new kind of avenue people could use to actually bring their communities together, bring in paid sponsorships, sell services, get products out there. And it became this new modal for connecting with people and expanding their creative businesses. So it's pretty cool how these IRL creators have truly come to surface to not only solve a human problem, but also to actually create this creator economy for themselves.
One thing that's interesting about what you're saying is that IRL creation is kind of timeless.
Absolutely.
That like you could have been like a Native American shaman at like and your like dance ceremony or the sweat lodge, or like these things are gathering people together for events. However advanced technology or AI or whatever gets, is we will still want to like come together as humans.
It is a basic human essential need, the fifth basic need on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, to belong to something. And these event organizers or community and tribe leaders, as you're describing, have always existed in order to fulfill that need. But I think what the difference is now is it used to be that, oh, I could only organize for my direct community that was in proximity to me, because they were limited to distributing their events or their gatherings through like posters, right? But now we have access to content and flyers, and the community not only has to exist within a close proximity to you, but I have people that fly, like for my events in Atlanta, they'd fly in from New York, they'd fly in from LA for this fitness gathering that I was hosting. So it was so cool to see this evolution of how this natural like desire for human connection exists, and then this natural ability for us as organizers to be able to cultivate people can really truly come together at a snap of a button by just telling people, I have this idea, here's where we're gathering, come meet me here. And that's why I love the internet, but that's why I feel like right now IRL creators can truly thrive with content and community at the forefront.
It's like you've met a lot of people in person who your initial impression was online, and that online doesn't necessarily need to alienate people. It could actually be a gateway to building real relationships.
100%. Two of my bridesmaids in my wedding were girls I met from Instagram.
Really?
That literally one of the girls, Lex,
it's the world we live in.
I met her through Instagram. We would just like comment back and forth on each other's pictures. And one day she was like, I'm going to fly to see you in Atlanta. And I hosted an event, and she came and like collabed with me. And now we've traveled the world together. And so I think it's like people don't realize, like, yes, content and social is great, but use it as a vehicle to get people in person and really nurture these relationships.
I also did a TEDx talk like you, except mine was 10x less cool. In the sense that
Please tell us more. What was it about?
I'm walking in the alley by my house one day, and I get a call from my friend Jason Dombelli. Shout out Jason Dombelli. He doesn't even go to UIC anymore. He says, you want to be on a TED Talk?
Shout out to Billy. Looking out.
And quote, it was called The Art of Networking, Blending the Personal with Professional. And my very last tip, I had 7 of them, was called a collaborative frame. So I'm watching one of your Instagram posts from like maybe 2 years ago or over, and you're talking about walking into social events to meet people, to like approach it as a collaborative community. And I literally, that's what my TED Talk was about.
We really should reframe the way networking works and come to it with a collaboration mindset. I think let's like first understand, like, why do networking events suck, right? They suck because they're transactional. Like, you walk in a room and you're like, someone is going to ask me, what do I do for work 10 million times? And you come in with that, like, if I don't have something valuable to give to someone, then everyone's going to write me off. And you need to think about that in like the flip side, right? Someone else is expecting that the only reason someone is going to talk to me is if I have something to give them in exchange. But most people don't realize, like, you don't do business with people just because of their titles. You do business with them because you like them. And they happen to do work that is good too. So I reframe networking as an opportunity to collab and get to know people. I think we need to first reframe the question, like drop the what do you do question. Instead, I'll offer you some advice. Ask instead, what's bringing you joy lately? What is a project you're working on that sparked some joy or that was cool this week? What's a new like skill you're picking up? The reason those questions are really great in networking settings is because it actually allows you get to the core of the person, which if their work is associated with what brings them joy,
it will naturally come out.
It's gonna fit. And then they'll be able to talk about it in a way that feels organic and natural to them, so that then you have some way to insert yourself into that conversation in a natural, friendly manner. And I've definitely seen when I started switching from going to these like tech events. So when I was running Sweatpack, I was meeting with VCs on a weekly basis. I was at pitch competitions.
Were they working out with you?
They were. Yes, I would take them to the gym with me as well after I got through the networking events. But yeah, I would come into these rooms on like twice a week. And I realized the reason I was standing out in these rooms was because I was actually getting to know them as a person. And my question was always like, oh, what do you like to do to stay active? Because I knew that was a question that I could ask that could get me to talk about how they like to work out, what gym they go to. And then I could naturally insert in, oh, Sweatpack is an app that connects you with other people that enjoy doing the same kind of workouts as you. Join a sports leagues, join a gym, but we'll find you other people to do it with. And so it was a natural way that turned into a really organic lead generator, as well as a really great way for me to build my mentors as well as my team. So highly recommend, just take that question from me, and I hope you use it on me at a future event.
I'm really curious to jump into your perspective on fitness and how that blends into the rest of your life. But first, I saw an Instagram video where you worked out with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, so F45 Buckhead was one of my clients, and I managed all their social, their events, and their influencers. And Mark Wahlberg is one of their investors as well as one of their influencers. And so I took the same approach with him. When I was working out with him, I didn't treat him like everyone else in the room that was like kind of fangirling. I was like, oh, hey, Mark, what was your workout?
Is that what was happening?
It was, and that's okay. Like, I fangirl over people too sometimes, but with Mark, I knew that's what he was dealing with. So I approached it with, hey, what was your workout like today? Oh, yeah, those burpees really sucked. Were you the one that made us do those? Like, joking and making it feel friendly so that he then felt comfortable enough to talk to me and ask me questions about me.
I'm so curious. You talk about it in your TED Talk, and you talk about it so much in your content, this idea of psychological momentum, that your wins in the gym, and if you're serious about it and you're deliberate about it, the wins that you can consistently produce in the gym result into other aspects of your life. I get you some advice just on my life. Like,
let's do it.
when I was really young, I was super active, and it felt like nothing needed to push me to do that. I was climbing things all the time, using the monkey bars all the time. That was my favorite thing to do on the playground. Monkey bars, back and forth, and pull-ups, and like had this connection to fitness that I'm curious how I seemed to lose as I got older. I've had different points with fitness where at one point it seemed very easy to throw myself into it. Maybe not easy is the right word, but it seemed more like it was easier for me to involve myself in it because I felt more connected to it. And then in recent points in time, I've tried really hard to get back in the gym, and I'll do it for a little bit, but I just feel so disconnected from it. what do you think might have made me now or then connected or disconnected from the gym and from activity in general? Like, how can we feel good about being active?
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Matt. And I feel like your journey feels very relatable to most of us that go through these fitness journeys where fitness and being active was associated with team sports or some sort of big goal to work towards, right? Like a competition, or I wanted to lose fat and gain muscle. Like a lot of that was associated with our younger years in fitness. But as we get older, we tend to start thinking that we need to do the same activities in order to sustain the life that we want. But we have to realize we're totally different humans now, right? So I think the way to my personal practice with fitness is to actually think about fitness as truly just a habit that I use to feed into my values. So I think we need to reframe how we go into the gym. First, what do you value actually in life right now? I'm not talking your physical goals. Like, what is your social goal right now? Your professional, your financial, your mental. Like, for example, right now, one of my professional goals is, I'm transitioning from like being a full-time entrepreneur to now like kind of working part-time with the company and also like still building my creative career. So my fitness schedule no longer is my entire life. I'm using fitness as a vehicle to just get me the energy to do the things that I want to do. So then I need to ask myself, okay, is my HIIT workout that I used to do when I was 23 the same thing I can do now at 34 that's going to sustain that same energy? Not because I need this body anymore, but because I need the energy to sustain life. So I think we need to ask ourselves, what do we value and what type of workout program is actually going to help me reach that? But then the third thing is, what is actually like attainable on a daily basis, right? Because sometimes we think, okay, I need to do a 60-minute workout in order for it to count. But our lives aren't set up like that anymore. I think we should have a 5-minute routine, a 10-minute routine, a 20-minute, and a 60-minute that we know, hey, based on my day, my energy and everything, this is the bucket I'm going to pick from today. And so I think when we start from our values and pick a routine that supplements that, I think it's so much easier to stay committed to it because you're actually seeing how it ladders up.
My gym friends would push me to go to the gym, and I would go to the gym with them, and I would go for a while, but I would feel like, why am I not into this? But I feel like humans should naturally be into activity.
I think we're trying to force a certain type of activity down people's throats, and that's where the disconnect is happening. That's why people don't show up for their gym memberships, right? Because they think it's this one way of bodybuilding that is going to be your own avenue, but there's so many ways to stay active.
You're right. I agree. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I've had friends pressure me that I have to follow this way of working out. But when I actually used to be more fit, when I used to work out more, my workouts were like completely random. And they don't buy it. They're like, no, you have to have a certain amount of reps. You have to have a certain amount of sets. You have to work out certain body groups during these days and then wait. And I think I used to be more fit when I used to just free ball it every time I went to the gym. I would just exercise whatever I felt like needed, like release, so to speak.
Well, that comes to the point that, the best workout routine is the one that you can actually commit to and stick to, right? It's the fact that you showed up to the gym and you listened to your body. And I think a lot of people feel like they have to commit to some program, but think about what season of life you're in right now and be consistent with the thing that is actually like sparking joy and interest for you. I think for me, like I've learned so with my fitness journey at first, I started working out after college, mainly because
For the first time?
Yeah, like
Wow,
I
okay.
like played sports in with my sorority, and like I'd go do leg day here and there, but not really a committed schedule. But after college, fitness was the thing that just helped me build my trust with myself. And I was doing a program called the Bikini Body Guide, BBG. The community is like huge on Instagram. And I started it because I wanted to gain that self trust in myself. But I knew there was a community associated with it, which once again ladders up to that goal I was looking for, which is I was looking for something to develop self trust and self love, but also something that was going to bring community in my life, because I realized it was really hard making friends after college. And so I was going to these gyms and I was working out. I'd meet new people. I'd join these sports leagues. And I was like, okay, cool. The way to stay active in my life in this phase in life is HIIT workouts and playing flag football. But fast forward to like to 2020, 2019, I was like in my like agility era, because I was really like, okay, I need fast workouts. I like how baseball players move, and that's how I want to move in life through business. This is when I was building Sweat Pack 2, so I wanted that agility mindset. So I was like, okay, I need to have a workout program that teaches me that mindset. And now I'm in more of like a recovery phase in my life where I'm like, okay, I need to do more Pilates workouts, more like slow taking rest days, because I'm in a phase in my life where I need to like rebuild my hormones in my body. So I think it's like dabble in a lot of different types of workout programs. Go to these like fitness events, for example. They have like a ton of free like fitness events all over Chicago, and find the thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
But that's how I ended up
Like
working
maybe I'll
out.
get a lot more joy out of like salsa and breakdancing if I go
Let's go. If
do that.
I can see you
And,
have those hips, so you
I
can
used
move
to,
it.
when I was in middle school, I used to watch these like international documentaries of people from all over the world going to breakdancing competitions. And there's something about international gatherings. If I ever host events, I want to have like international themes.
Well, tell us about like this comedy event you did, because that sounds a little bit like this, where you intentionally curated a community to come out to participate and enjoy this comedy special. Tell me about who was in the room.
You're the interviewer now.
I
Yeah.
know, I want to hear more.
Yeah, I mean, you can't stay in touch with everybody all the time forever. But and then you have really strong connections with people who are your super close friends, and you have soft connections with people who you don't necessarily stay in touch with all the time, but every time you do, it feels very meaningful and authentic, like right now.
Your tiered friends.
And
Okay.
I just brought together people who I felt like I had some personal, mutual, like affinity energy with, and that they existed in a bunch of different spaces across Chicago tech, culture, music. There was a ton of artists at my show that I grew up with, like people that I met who I've watched go bedroom in their parents' house to the studios and the millions of streams and all that, to just like, them being around the city. I think I brought people who I thought would find me funny.
And at the end of the day, that's what
They
you want.
did.
They did. So it was a success.
Well,
You actually led with performing for your friends first over performing for strangers first. I think that's a huge tale to say that you have really great people in your life that you trust.
that's what it felt like. 24 hours to 48 hours after that Umama, like I was on a mental high because I had experienced interactions with these people personally, one-on-one, through all these different dimensions of my life. And I always wanted them to be together, but for whatever reason, I never had the opportunity to bring them together. And so for all of these very interesting personalities to just be walking amongst each other, to be sharing space with each other, and to be sharing the same kind of energy with each other in enjoying an experience, like, but I can guarantee you, if we were to pull people from that event, there was a certain exchange of of presence that without even saying anything, people felt something just being together because of who they were together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were hand chosen to be there to celebrate you and to support you. So they had this mutual connection of you, but obviously you saw something in them that garnered this like sense of value, that of trust among these people, that they could be good together. And so as a curator in that opportunity there, like, that must have felt like super rewarding. Like, tell me about that.
Extreme. It was one of the most rewarding days of my life.
You, by hosting that event, that's what you did, right? Like, it was just one move. And I think a lot of people, when they're getting started with hosting an event or creating content, they overthink the process. But I like to even like go back to like, think about hosting your first event as like a 6-person dinner party, like, and that being a success, where it's like you just invite like 5 people, which sounds like you invited way more people for your first event, which is so cool. But invite 5 people that you trust over this themed activity, right? So your activity was a comedy show, and you invited people that you know enjoy comedy or enjoy you. Great, right?
Pretty much.
So just like when we distill it down to like, oh, I just need like 5 people to show up, or I need 5 people to view my content as success metric, then it lowers the barrier of entry of getting started. And then you take the data from that first event to inform how you're going to do the next one, right? So like this 6-person dinner party, I always tell people, is the best first foray into hosting events, because it's going to give you the confidence of like getting it out there, learning how to host. 2, it's going to build momentum from like your small audience of 5 people, because you can control that with like a diverse group of people that can have really great conversation, bring in unique experiences, and like have a good time. But then you're going to be able to shoot content there that you're going to be able to then use for your next event, where you're going to be able to actually scale that and maybe have every single person invite 1 person. Then look, the next time you've already doubled in size of your event. And same with content. So I think it's like what you did here was a perfect example of like, just post it, do an invite only event as the first thing, and then discover what you want to do next based on feedback and what you enjoy.
Yeah. I just jumped into it. And I said, you know, I feel like there's so many people who have this feeling that there's something within them, and all they need is one event to bring all those people together who they've had personal one-to-one interactions with. And if they do that, then they can create an atmosphere that will be unique. And that's what I did.
We have to trust that like people are going to show out for us, and they're there for the evolution too, right?
Yeah,
they get to say when you have your next Netflix special that, oh, I was at that one show where Matt's
Not
so
to blow up
funny.
my ego, but people were literally telling me I should have a Netflix
Let's
special.
go.
Yeah,
Make it happen. But yeah, you couldn't have had that feedback if you didn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Going off of this, it's the question's right in front of me. You said when it comes to producing social content, creating content about yourself can be a self-love practice. And I believe that's true because I've used creating content about myself as a self-love thing, but that it can be a self-centered thing too. How do you see content creation can be self-loving or self-obsessed, and what's the difference?
Yeah, I love this question. I think content is the most beautiful form of self-love because it's saying that you matter, your ideas are worthy of sharing, and it's an art form too, right? Like, you paint a picture and that is a manifestation of what's in your heart and your mind. You do a talking head video about how your day went or your experience with a person, and that is also a communication tool of how you're living your life and being able to connect with other people through that journey. Um, I genuinely believe, though, that when you start creating content, it first should come from a very selfish place. And I say this because
Really?
it should be selfish before it can be selfless.
Mm.
The reason is because a lot of content creators actually can't stay committed to their art because they're so self-obsessed with the metrics and how many followers do I have? What are the vanity metrics? But when you start from a place of like, oh, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this because I have a story worth sharing, or I love this idea. I love like sharing this thing. Then you get consistent with it. That's what's developing that self-trust muscle. Once you've come to this place where you recognize, oh, I've got this down and I like feel good in myself to execute. Oh my God, other people are watching this now. Wait, what are they talking about? What are they asking? What are they commenting? And then you realize, wait a second, there's a community of people that are also interested in this. How can I now respond to them and show up for them through this art form? And that's when it switches over to the selfless piece, which is how can I bring value to my community through my art form, which is creating content. But I think you should always be doing it, one, because you love it and it's something you enjoy, and then two, because it's actually bringing value to the world.
Wow, that makes me think about a lot because I've created, man, I've had so many moments where in hindsight I feel like I was too self-obsessed and other people also recognized that, but then there's a lot of other people who were like, no, that the content you were creating at that time was so interesting, you just riffing off your personal life and da 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 da. You might as well just pull out the camera and talk about your life as long as you feel a sense of inclusiveness when you do it. That was always the big thing for me, that because every time I pulled out my phone, I was always thinking, how can I make people's day, their approach to their life, a little bit more joyful and enthusiastic and full of positivity through this little video I make.
But it just, you never know who is listening, right? And who it does impact. So even if it is like one or two people, that matters.
Yeah. I'm working on a new business where my direct partners are very concerned. I'm like, okay, we're about to experiment with social for the first time as a B2B company, and I want to give sauce. Umama provides so much value in a lot of the content that she creates. And my direct partner, who's on the sales end, he's like, don't give out too much sauce. And I'm like, I don't know, Umama gives out so much sauce. Like, when should you or should you not gatekeep internal sauce as a company?
Ooh, this is getting saucy right now. Okay, so so basically at what point, what do you gatekeep or not gatekeep? Here's my strategy that has worked for all my B2B clients, and I honestly just use it for a personal brand too, which is you actually tell them everything. Overcomplicate the process. Like build in public. Show them how complicated the tech is and take people behind the scenes so that they feel like, oh yeah, I could do it. And then they see the behind the scenes and then they're like, oh yeah, I can't do it. Maybe I just hire those guys because they know what they're doing. This works for me like a charm every time. So when it comes to like content, I think building in public is a very beautiful thing, and specifically tech companies where there's one marketing generalist that kind of handles like the main face videos, but then you have like the tech guys in the backdrop that are kind of characters in the world that people are really invested in.
Yes.
So those are the people that are actually going to sell the product or service.
Yes.
So just dropping the sauce is not enough, right? Like, I could tell you how to grow a following of 100K on TikTok in 2 months, but then you're going to see how much work it takes and you're going to be like, okay, cool, let me just hire Umama to do it. And that's how I get my clients. But in the tech world, it's the same thing, but there's another layer because you do have IP. So when we were building Sweatpack, I actually built our first no-code app on Glide, and I got our first $25,000 in just seed funding from just this no-code app. But I took people through the process of...
Wait, when was that?
This was in 2019.
Wow.
So this is
Because
before...
today, before AI, where you can just
Oh, no. I was like...
vibe
coding, which now I vibe code products in like 5 minutes, right? But no code back then was I was
Umama
still
was
having
the
to drag and
MVP
drop.
queen, yeah.
Exactly. But I think what a lot of tech companies and startups learned from watching me was that, oh, we should bring people along with us as we're building these like Wizard of Oz products, because then they get to see it go from like ideation to execution, and people get to be a part of that process. So now you're seeing like, hey, these founders hopping on IG Live, TikTok Live, LinkedIn Live, whatever, and just like, oh, we're building out this feature. What are your thoughts on this? What should we build? And people then insert their ideas, they watch it come to life, and then they want to take credit and share that progress as, oh, I told these guys to make this and they built it. You guys should go buy and invest in this too. So it's like you're gathering and galvanizing people online to be a part of your like sales team and sell the sauce for you.
100%.
It's also just fun, and I think it's actually a really great culture tool too, to like really connect with your founding team and like make it like share the process of like building the product. They have to see it as more than just a social media marketing like play.
Yeah. 100%.
And then also just remember like where are the people that would buy the product? Where do they exist, and what type of content do they consume? Is there a way for you to like speak into that platform in a way that feels organic and natural, besides like just like the LinkedIn post that feels like it's AI written anyways, you know, meet your customers where they're at.
Right, 100%. You couldn't have said it better. Exactly. This might be what I close it off with, and then you can tell us anything about yourself or what you're working on that you want to share, and we can talk about that. But building a human-to-human community online. This is actually directly related to what we were just talking about. Yeah. You said in a post once that you don't like the word, quote, followers because, quote, followers aren't there for your breakups or cheerleaders for your acne recovery. And I couldn't agree more, because the coolest results I've ever built on social have come from these super human-to-human interactions where people don't feel like they're a passive audience member anymore, but they're genuinely a part of whatever is going on. And so what can we do what are any like Umama's best tips or best practices for fostering these human-to-human relationships online as a brand or just as a person?
We have to think about followers as our friends. We have to think about these as actual humans and not just numbers that exist on our platforms. As soon as we realize there's a person connected to each number on our platforms, we realize that they are choosing to show up for us. But what are they choosing to show up for us about? And so I think it's really important as creators, as brands that show up, to get on stories and walk people through the journey of your life and let them be along for that ride. But if they comment or if they DM, you need to treat them like a human, aka you need to respond to them like a human. You wouldn't have like 5 people walk through your door at a party and then you don't acknowledge or say hi to them because you're looking for more people, right, to come. That's what a lot of people act like social is like, oh, I only got 5 views on this video. It was like, okay, cool. Did you treat those 5 people like they were the superstar fans that they are for you? Like, nurture and grow those people, and then they will bring more people. The algorithms will also support you in that when you engage with them. And so I think reframing it as like, these are my friends, I'm going to show up for them, and I'm going to take them along for the journey. But also just like, what value can I give to people so it feels like it is a human experience? So instead of just like responding to a DM with just like words, I actually send video responses to people or voice notes. I prefer the video. That way it feels like I'm actually just having like a FaceTime conversation. But like people are so starked when they're like, oh shit, she's like a real person. She's responding to me.
Yeah, I used to do that too. People are ruthless on social media when they think you're a bot.
Yeah,
Which,
and that's fair.
fair,
It's
yeah.
so fair. And that's why it's like, let's disrupt that pattern by doing these like human-like things we would do with our actual friends.
And this has been awesome. Umama, is there anything I haven't touched on about what you're working on right now, or anything about your life going on that people can get involved in, that they can support, that they can reach out to you about?
Yeah.
And let me know.
Yeah, I'm making a huge bet right now on IRL creators and community organizers winning. And so I'm here to help other organizers figure out how they can get people in person. So definitely come out to any of my events, follow along my content. I'm Umama Kibria on all platforms. But my challenge to everyone out there is to host a gathering and tell me how it goes.
Fire. Well, thank you so much, Umama. I really appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
And this was one of the dopest conversations I've had on my podcast yet. So thanks for coming on and showing out. This was awesome.
This is awesome. Thanks for sharing your story too.
Woo! Signing out.